It's 1815. Your tooth hurts. Good news, there's a dentist at the fair. Bad news, he brought a drummer. And if you're wondering why a dentist needs a drummer, it's so the crowd can't hear you scream. Welcome to the golden age of dentistry, where the waiting room was a stage, the anesthesia was a band, and the dentist was a man in a jester costume wearing a necklace made of human teeth. His previous customer's teeth. That's not a joke, that's his marketing. Hi, I'm about to ruin the dentist for you. Which sounds impossible because the dentist is already ruined. But trust me, after the next 6 minutes, your dentist's office is going to feel like a spa. Let's go back to 1815 and watch you make a series of terrible decisions. Step 1. Denial. Your tooth starts hurting on a Tuesday. Do you see a professional? Of course not. Because for the last 4,000 years, medicine has been extremely confident about what's causing your pain. A worm. A tiny worm living inside your tooth, chewing through your skull like it's a rental. And this isn't fringe stuff. It's written on Babylonian clay tablets. 4 millennia of dental science, and the leading theory is skull tenant. So you get the standard treatment. You lean over hot coals and inhale henbane smoke. Henbane, a lovely plant from the same family as deadly nightshade. When the seeds pop in the heat, little sprouts curl out that look exactly like dead worms. Look, the worms are falling out, it's working! It was not working. You were hallucinating. Because that's what henbane does to people. Congratulations, your toothache is still there, but now the walls are breathing. Step 2. Science. Maybe you consult the cutting edge instead. Pierre Fauchard, the literal father of modern dentistry, the genius who debunked the toothworm, had a recommendation for dental pain in his landmark 1728 textbook. Rinse your mouth with your own urine. Fresh, ideally. That was the scientific option. That's the guy they make statues of. The Isaac Newton of teeth wants you to gargle pee. And listen carefully. Compared to what's coming, the urine is the good part of this video. Screenshot this moment. Your other home option. Press a red-hot wire against the exposed nerve to burn it dead. Which technically works, the way a house fire technically solves a spider problem. Step 3. The professional. 3 weeks in, your face is a throbbing balloon, and you finally seek help. There are no dental offices. There's the barber. Yes, the same guy who trims your sideburns also does your surgery, because he owns the sharp things, and in 1815, that's the entire job qualification. His tool of choice, the tooth key. Picture a corkscrew for wine, except the wine is your face. He clamps it onto your tooth and rotates. Best case, the tooth pops out. Common case, the crown shatters, the gum tears open, and, this happened routinely, your jaw cracks. And here's the fun part. If the tooth shatters, the job's not done. Now he digs the fragments out of your gum, piece by piece, with no anesthesia. Anesthesia does not exist yet. Your pain management plan is brandy, a stick to bite, and the friends who came along to watch. Because, oh yes, people came to watch. Step 4. Showtime. Which brings us back to our friend at the fair, the tooth drawer. Because if you couldn't afford the barber, you went to the traveling showman. And I need you to understand, this was entertainment. He worked on an actual stage. He often dressed as a jester. Pointy hat, bells, the works, wearing that necklace of extracted human teeth like a resume you can hear coming. And he travelled with musicians, whose one professional duty was to play loud, cheerful music at the exact moment the pliers went in. Drums up, screams down. Next customer, please. And the audience watching you get dismantled? That's the line. Those people are waiting their turn. They watched you scream into a snare drum, did the math and went, "Seems fine, I'm next." This system worked so well it refused to die. Around 1900, an American dentist who legally changed his name to Painless Parker was still pulling teeth on stage with a full brass band, and when a patient started really feeling it, he'd stomp his foot, the secret signal for the band to play louder. Painless. It's in the name he chose. In court. On purpose. Step 5. The upgrade. And here's where 1815 stops being a random year. Say you survive all of this. You're now missing several teeth and you'd like new ones. Good news. Dentures exist. For rich people. And the premium material for false teeth is real teeth. Human ones. Previously owned. So where do you find thousands of healthy human teeth in 1815? Well, in June of that exact year, tens of thousands of young, healthy men died in a single day at a little place called Waterloo. And while the smoke was still clearing, scavengers walked that battlefield with pliers, pulling teeth from the dead, packing them into barrels and shipping them to England. There, they were boiled. That's the sterilization step, 1 star. Sorted by size, mounted on ivory plates, and sold to the upper class as what we now call Waterloo teeth. And this was a selling point. Fresh from a healthy young soldier was premium branding, because the alternatives were executed criminals and, donations from graveyards, if you catch my meaning. Wealthy customers smiled through dinner parties with a dead man's smile, and most likely never asked where it came from. Be honest, you wouldn't ask either. Oh, and if you were rich and impatient, the previous century offered express delivery. Live donors. A celebrated surgeon named John Hunter popularized pulling a healthy tooth from a poor person, often a child, paid pennies, and plugging it directly into a rich person's gum, while both of them were still in the room. It occasionally transmitted syphilis. The tooth gave people syphilis. There's a famous cartoon from 1787 mocking the practice, because even the 1700s looked at this and said, "Okay, that's messed up." And the final insult, history wrote its own punchline. Surely when someone finally invented painless dentistry, humanity carried him through the streets? Ha! No. In 1845, a dentist named Horace Wells publicly demonstrated laughing gas anesthesia. The patient groaned once mid-extraction, wasn't even in real pain, and a room full of medical students booed Wells off the stage, shouting, "Humbug!" He died 3 years later, a broken man, just days before word arrived that the medical establishment in Paris was ready to honor him as a true discoverer. The man who ended 4,000 years of screaming got heckled for it. Be nice to your dentist. So, next time you're lying back in that clean, padded chair, mildly annoyed by the sound of the drill, mouth full of numbing agents that actually work, remember, it could be 1815. It could be a stage. It could be a jester with a necklace. There could be a drummer. Going to the dentist in 1815. Aren't you glad you missed it? If you enjoyed feeling grateful for once in your life, subscribe. Every week, we dig up another chapter of history you should be thrilled you skipped. And next week, you check into a hotel in 1776, and there's already a stranger in your bed. He paid too. Sleep tight.